Hi, Aquarius, Sun and Rising. Welcome to your January 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. Alrighty then. Well, this is your month, obviously, when the sun goes into your sign, otherwise known as your solar return. But technically, your solar return is when the sun goes to the exact degree of your sun. And believe it or not, it's not always going to be on the exact birthday that you have. Sometimes it might be a day before, a day afterwards. But yeah, so this is um, a big deal for you because you'll very likely start to feel more energetic after the 20th when the sun goes into Aquarius, and you're going to have a new moon here as well. But let me start at the beginning of the month because, of course, we are starting a whole new year, 2023, but we're starting it with Mercury retrograding, Mars retrograding, and luckily both of these personal planets will be going direct in January. So that new year feeling is going to come our way, but it's going to be more around the time that the sun goes into your sign that we're going to start to feel that, what I would call momentum of direct planets. Oh, and your ruler is going direct as well. So that will be, I think at that point, all of the planets will be direct. So on the 6th of the month, there is a full moon at 16 degrees of Cancer. And for you, this is going to be in the 6th house. And the 6th house is a house of your service to others, otherwise known as work. It's the house of health, and it's the house of your daily routine. So, for instance, when you have a full moon in this house and it affects your daily routine, you may be ending a certain type of schedule that you have. And that in and of itself can indicate other changes in your life. So, for instance, let's say that you're a grandmother or grandparent and you're taking care of your grandkids and you get up at 6 in the morning to babysit or something like that. And now your son or daughter is, going to be a stay-at-home parent and you don't have to do that anymore and you're going to sleep in longer. That's just an example of what could be happening that changes. But this can also have to do with your work life. Some people may decide to leave their job. Some people may get a promotion. Full moons can bring something to a zenith, like a high point. And with work matters, you may get more responsibility. You may be finishing some kind of work project. Maybe you're doing contract work and you're not just stuck at one company. Or if you are working for a specific employer, you don't stay at the same location, or you know what I mean. You work with other teams. For some people, this can be discovering the type of work that they want to do. Now, remember that Pluto is going to go into your sign in March, so that could have some kind of correlation as well, because Pluto can be associated with healing. And like I said, this is the house of health. So you may be even interested in becoming a healer. And certainly Aquarians are naturals for this. I think that Aquarian sun signs, the rising sign can be a bit tricky because, you might have a lot of influences like water that can make you very susceptible to taking on other people's energy, and it could be a little bit, in some cases, more challenging. But for the sun sign Aquarians, you are naturally intuitive, but you're also air signs, and you can be quite detached. So that's very good for the helping professions, because you will have a good likelihood of not getting too bogged down in other people's stuff. And of course, this is kind of a generalization as a statement, because truth be told, you might have the moon in Cancer, for instance, or another water sign, and you could be quite empathic for an Aquarian, or have inner planets in Pisces, the sign adjacent to you. So it's not always going to be that cut and dried, but I just was giving, you know, other options. This could be like you discovering what it is that you want to do as your service to others. So it could be kind of like a revelation. And the sixth house can be your coworkers. So if they are, doing something behind your back, you may find out about that. So there's all different possibilities. The full moon can bring out secrets. So people that are doing stuff, you may find out about. On the 12th, Mars turns direct at 8 degrees of Gemini. And so this is significant because of the length of time that Mars has been retrograding, which has been over 2 months, but also in Gemini. It's not going to leave Gemini for a couple of months, or 2.5 months actually, but still, it's doing something different than it has done for over 2 months, which is turning direct. So this is a personal planet. It can affect us more than maybe some of the outer planets in a very kind of immediate sort of way. So for you, this is happening in your 5th house, which is the house of romance and creativity. Also the business that you own. So Mars retrograding may have seen you a bit adrift in this area. Maybe trying to figure out retracing your steps. But when I think of somebody who's retracing their steps, it's like they have gotten lost in a sense. So there can be this review, but there's not necessarily progress. There might have even been, I could even see somebody who has writer's block, or, creative block, trying to rework something, a creative project, and maybe kind of meandering, going in different directions, not really feeling it. And now you have momentum on your side. During a Mars retrograde, especially in the 5th house, this could be an old love affair coming back into the picture, having come back into the picture. But the 5th house is not the house of commitment. That's the 7th house. So it could be just another series of booty calls, or, one night stands, whatever you want to call them. And not necessarily, I would say more like friends with benefits. If it's kind of like this fling that reignited, but then again, it might have gone nowhere a second time. And, Aquarians, I could see some of you thinking that you don't mind that it's not going anywhere. But then perhaps after you have experienced this, you start to think about it, and you kind of admit to yourself that you really are looking for a relationship and not just to have friends with benefits. On the 18th, Mercury turns direct at 8 degrees of Capricorn. So this has been in your 12th house. And for Aquarius, because you also have Pluto in this sector, the 12th house has been something that you've had to contend with for several years running now. Actually, since the end of 2017, when your co-ruler Saturn went into Capricorn. And that was for a couple of years. And then, you have had Pluto there for so long. So, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Aquarians, starting from, you could say the end of 2017, but, let's just say from 2018 onwards. So we're talking about 5 years now. If you have found that life has been a little bit more challenging for you, and actually, during that time of 2018, that was coming off of the tail end of the Leo Aquarius eclipses, so that would have affected you as well. So we can even, we can even go back to 20, maybe 16 or earlier in 17 as well. And so you may have felt like it's been one thing after the other, maybe not in the same area of life, but still really challenging you. So one thing to celebrate is you have these planets now that Pluto is moving into your sign, even though that's not necessarily warm and fuzzy all the time, it still is doing something different. The 12th house, because it's this area of the unconscious mind, it can be like something underneath the surface that is really feeling uncomfortable. So that may have been feeling kind of problematic. So Mercury here is yet another example of that, but also looking at self-defeating patterns, self-destructive patterns, addictions, and the like. I do feel like a lot of you have had to confront this already with Saturn and Pluto here. But still, sometimes people feel that they've conquered their issues and then they resurface. Or another, one thing gets replaced, one addiction gets replaced by another. We know that's human nature. So it's really about going deeper and looking at why, if you have wanted to escape, why, and how to avoid it altogether. So you should feel good about Mercury going direct in your 12th, and then on the 20th, the sun goes into your sign. Yay. The next day, the new moon is at 1 degree of Aquarius. And because it is at such an early degree, if you're kind of like in that cuspy sun or ascendant, then that is going to be your new moon. But for the rest of you, it's going to be in your 12th house. And so that's cool because you can utilize this new moon at 1 degree of Aquarius. And by the way, it's 1 degree 33 minutes. I love 33 is a master number. And the number 1 corresponds in the tarot to the Magician card. So definitely, even when there are new moons in the 12th house, this is the womb of creation. And if you see yourself as a conscious co-creator, Aquarius, you can, it's like directing, it's like putting in an order to the universe. What popped in my mind was Sears catalog. Of course, that totally dates me, but I remember as a kid in the 70s, we would have these wish books from Sears. And I would just sit there and stare, look through those pages. It was a giant book. And in those days, we would order things from a catalog and then pick them up at the store. And it was so exciting, and I think that, ordering from Amazon, I think that kind of like triggers those brings back those memories of the Sears and Roebuck's Wish catalog, or Wish book it was called. And that's really how you can view this kind of energy, is saying, what is it that I want, and putting in your order. Now, it's, to me, that's a bit simplistic, because I do feel like you have to actually do something. You can't just say you want it. But because this is the 12th house, I feel like this is kind of in that germination period. And then you can really stoke it when there's a new moon in Pisces, because that one is going to be at 1 degree as well. So that one will be more likely for the vast majority of you're in your first house. And then it's more of a new cycle, because it's the first house. So it's starting a new cycle. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. And then the very next day, Uranus turns direct at 14 degrees, 56 minutes of Taurus, almost 15 degrees. That for you is your fourth house of home and family. And you may have, when Uranus is in the fourth house, some people may move a lot more frequently, especially for an Aquarian that is a fixed sign that tends to kind of stay put once they find somewhere that they want to live. I would say that Aquarians aren't necessarily nomadic, because you are fixed signs. But of course, Aquarius, I mean, actually in the tarot, Aquarius is, I meant to say Uranus, your ruler, is connected to the Fool card. So I definitely think that blazing new trails is not, beyond your possibilities. But I feel that a lot of Aquarians may find that even if you want to lay down roots, there might be some situations that have occurred that have prevented that. Now, this is not going to be true 100% across the board, obviously. This is simply to discuss this, to bring this out for those people, those Aquarians who have moved and feel like they can't seem to be able to lay down roots. That would be indicated during this time period. But when Uranus goes direct, it will at least calm things down a bit, because while it was retrograding for however long it did, maybe the last few months, it might have seemed extra screwy. And so this may actually make things more stable. You're going to have Jupiter in this house come May. So you're going to have support in terms of lucky breaks happening with home matters in the spring, in May. And until then, just kind of like flow with whatever's going on. And because this is your ruler, this can also feel like you are moving forward, Aquarius. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I actually redid this one because somebody seemed to suggest that I had said something erroneous. And I didn't even feel like just listening to find out if they were correct. I just said, screw it, I'll just do it over again. So anyway, I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I'm promoting my double readings called Deep Dive Readings. Hour of natal chart analysis with an hour of 2023 transits for a special price. I have another version of this called the Whole Enchilada, with either natal charts interpretation or 2023 transits and a full-length tarot reading, also for a special price. And you can find out more information on those or my standalone readings at the link below. Thank you for listening and have a great month. Happy birthday. Bye.